Hey there, Kipsters. Mr. Piazza here, and we are looking at objectives 2B.4 through 5. That's two-step equations, which are called that because they have two steps. I'm going to start by connecting what we do with two-step equations, with what we learned solving one-step equations. The two things we learned was first, how do we solve equations that have addition or subtraction, which means we needed to cancel the constants. And second, how do we solve equations with multiplication or division when we needed to cancel a coefficient? If you remember correctly, in order to cancel a constant, we always added the opposite. That's exactly what we're going to do for a two-step equation. Same idea for canceling a constant. That will always be our first step. Then we'll be canceling a coefficient, which, if you remember correctly, we're always going to multiply or divide by the coefficient, not by its opposite. So I'm going to start by looking at this equation, negative 3x plus 2 equals 17. I'm going to draw a line down the middle to make sure I do the same thing to both sides. And I know my first step is to cancel the constant. The constant on the side of the variable is 2. This is my constant. In order to cancel the constant, I need to add the opposite. If I add the opposite, that would be adding negative 2 and adding negative 2. If I add negative 2 to both sides, 2 plus negative 2 equals 0 and cancels out. I have negative 3x equals 17 plus negative 2, that's 15. I've now canceled my constant. Next, I need to cancel the coefficient. This really is negative 3 times x, so my coefficient is negative 3. In order to cancel it, I need to do the inverse operation, which is divide by the coefficient of negative 3. If I do that, negative 3 divided by negative 3 cancels, it equals 1. I have x equals 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. That's my answer. In order to check my answer, to make sure I'm right, I'm just going to rewrite the equation, negative 3 times x, I'll leave a blank for it, plus 2 should equal 17. And I will substitute my answer in. Negative 3 times negative 5 plus 2 should equal 17. Negative 3 times negative 5 is 15, plus 2 should equal 17, and it does. 17 does equal 17. I know I'm right. Checking your answer is so great because you don't need to wait for someone else to tell you whether you're right or not. Okay, I'd like you to stop the video here and now solve B, which says 5x minus 4 equals 16. Remember, you need to cancel your constant first and your coefficient second. Press play after you've solved it yourself. Okay, you solved 5x minus 4 equals 16. Now it's time to check your answer. 5x minus 4 equals 16. You're going to add the opposite. Since it's 5x minus 4, which is really 5x plus negative 4, you add the opposite, which is plus 4 plus 4. When you do that, your constants cancel and you have 5x equals 20. You've already canceled the constant. Now you need to cancel the coefficient, which is 5 times x, so the coefficient is 5. When you do that, the coefficients cancel because that equals 1, and you have x equals 4. Hopefully you had that answer, and you checked it so that you knew that you were right. If I had 5 times x minus 4 equals 16, you should have been able to tell yourself whether you were right. 5 times 4 is 20, minus 4 should equal 16. 20 minus 4 is 16, so your answer checks out. I want to look at also equations with division in it, just to make sure you're able to solve them both. So again, the steps are still going to be the same. We're always first going to cancel the constant by adding the opposite, and then we're always going to cancel the coefficient by multiplying or dividing by the coefficient. So I'm going to solve C, which really says x divided by 2 minus 12 equals 4. In order to cancel the constant first, this is my constant of negative 12 after I kill subtraction. To add the opposite, I'm going to add 12 to both sides. When I do that, my constants cancel, and I have x divided by 2 equals 16. I've now canceled my constant. Next is to cancel the coefficient, which is 2 because it's divided by 2. So since it's divided by 2, I'll do the opposite, the inverse operation, and multiply by 2. Now that I do that, 2's cancel. X equals 32. I have my answer. Just to make sure, I'll check it. My answer, x divided by 2 minus 12, should equal 4. I'll substitute it in just to double check. 32 divided by 2 minus 12 should equal 4. 32 divided by 2 is 16. Minus 12 should equal 4. And what do you know? I'm right. I'd like you to stop the video here now and try D yourself. Press play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, you've tried to solve D, which says x divided by negative 3 plus, x divided by negative 3 plus 6 equals 10. Your first step was to cancel the constant of 6, so you should have added negative 6 to both sides. When you do that, the constants cancel, and you have x divided by negative 3 equals 4. You've canceled the constant. Now you cancel the coefficient, which is negative 3. So since it's x divided by negative 3, you need to multiply both sides by negative 3. And when you do that, the negative 3's cancel. X equals 4 times negative 3, which is negative 12. And that should have been your answer. And here is the independent practice. These are your 5 problems.